We're going to talk about our priorities for economic recovery more broadly. We know that there's a lot of investment coming into LA County right now to ensure that we build back more equitably, more intentionally. And so just talking about those priorities and then really hearing from our partners so that we are all on the same page and aware about those resources. And then what's most important, hearing from you in our small breakout groups, really taking back all that feedback and how we put together a plan for this district. Next slide, please. So again, I think we talked about that. Next slide, please. So the way that the county is looking at recovery from COVID-19 with the American Rescue Plan, we're looking at health, we're looking at economic recovery, about investing with equity, and then making sure that the sustainability and fiscal viability of the county is protected. And so we're going to talk about economic recovery here. Next slide, please. In terms of our priorities on the pathway to economic recovery, we really think that we need to build from within. Economic opportunity, which is one of the areas that I am overseeing as the Deputy for Workforce Development and Economic Opportunity, is building from our local community, making sure that we have opportunities for entrepreneurship. We know that women of color and our Black and brown folks in our communities have been most disproportionately impacted by the pandemic, as well as the structural and systemic racism that has been proliferated in this county. So making sure that we're investing in our local communities to build up our new entrepreneurs of the future, making sure that we're giving grants to our small and micro employers, our sole proprietors, and then of course our small businesses. We know that 93% of the businesses in LA County have 20 employees or fewer. I'm sure that's many of you here. And I do want to clarify, when we talk about businesses, we do intend to include nonprofits and community-based organizations, because you are running an enterprise and we all need to stay solvent. We all need to keep our doors open. And we really want to make sure that we shore up any of the resources that you need to stay thriving in our county. Additionally, looking specifically at the arts and entertainment industry, we know that the creative arts have been particularly hard hit. So investing in that industry, looking at our workforce and potentially can we help you subsidize the wages of some of the employees that you want to bring back as a business, especially in our high growth sectors, because we don't just want to create jobs. We want to create pathways into careers that have a family sustaining wage and benefits and a pension. We know that childcare has been particularly difficult during this time, and a lot of employers have reported to us that helping them and their employees with childcare assistance is of paramount importance. That's also of paramount importance to us in bridging the achievement gap that has occurred in this time with loss of learning. And then finally, bridging the digital divide, not only for individuals, but for our businesses, making sure that everyone has a level playing field. And investing in a broadband infrastructure of the 21st century. So those are just a quick few priorities so we can ground you in what we're thinking, but that's of course not all encompassing. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you what you think works. And I will then now turn it over to our director of the department. Oh, sorry, is there a next slide, Carmen? Yeah, so we're first going to hear from the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs, who's been really taking a large share of the work here in the last year during COVID to provide resources to our local small businesses. And they're going to talk a little bit about their resources. So I'm very pleased to have with us the Director of the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs, Rafael Carbajal. And I will turn it over to you, sir.
All right, thank you. Can everybody hear me? Am I unmuted? Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Supervisor Mitchell, Carolyn, and the entire team for putting this webinar together and inviting us to be part of it. All of you joining us here today, thank you for taking the time to join us. We're excited to be here to share information and resources, but more importantly, here to listen and be part of the discussion. So here at DCBA, we lovingly call ourselves the People's Department. This is because our work touches so many facets of people's lives. Next slide, please. So here at DCBA, we share the belief that government can positively impact people's lives, but also that it has the capacity to change systematic inequities through service, advocacy, and empowerment. And our services reflect that. Next slide, please. So How does our work touch so many different lives? Well, it touches consumers, workers, small businesses, tenants, and immigrants. We all are, have been, or will be one of these during our lives. DCBA's mission is to create a fair and vibrant marketplace for consumers and businesses. So how do we achieve this? We do so through a patchwork of services and programs that can positively impact both sides of the same coin. We have consumer counseling and fraud investigations, wage enforcement and worker protections, housing and tenant protections. We also house the Office of Immigrant Affairs, the Center for Financial Empowerment, and the Office of Cannabis Management. So for example, if consumers have faith in business, they will support businesses. If employees are treated fairly, it will reflect in their work and their overall customer experience. And the reality is that most small businesses are consumers too, right? They're just bigger and at a different scale. So ensuring a fair and supportive marketplace benefits us all. So why is DCBA here? Well, providing business development and business support services to our business community is at the core of the services that we provide. This includes housing the county's Office of Small Business and its programs. Our Office of Small Business also acts as the county's small business advocate and helps inform county economic development policies. Joining me here today to focus on our small business efforts is my colleague, Azucena Favela, Deputy Director over Economic Development and Wealth Building Programs. It's my honor to welcome Azucena. Azucena, thank you for joining me and helping me out here.
Yes, thank you so much, Rafael, and thank you for the invitation to join you this afternoon. Next slide, here we go. So LA County is home to over 500,000 registered businesses, majority of which have been impacted during this pandemic. Over 75% of all LA County businesses are considered small businesses with less than 20 employees. 62% of these businesses have reported that they have less than 2 months of cash on hand to cover business operations. Over 15,000 of our county small businesses have actually closed during the pandemic, and half may never reopen again. Those most heavily impacted sectors in the county are hospitality, retail, personal care, arts and entertainment, motion picture, and recording industries. COVID has altered the way in which we do business throughout the county, which means it is essential to adopt our strategies that increase the recovery and resiliency of our struggling business community. Next slide, please. At the onset of the pandemic, DCBA, in partnership with the Workforce Development, Aging, and Community Services Department, launched what we lovingly call our Disaster Help Center, which was initially launched to support businesses and workers to navigate resources and really understand what services were available. The call center is still staffed with live counselors in multiple languages that can connect businesses to resources. Since the onset of the pandemic, the Disaster Help Center has fielded more than 37,000 calls from small business owners, property owners, county residents that are struggling and are looking to connect with resources. The website has also become a centralized hub for vital COVID-19 information and resources. Not only do we include resources offered by the county, but also those offered by local foundations and nonprofit organizations. Next slide. One program that our department also launched this year with our Center for Financial Empowerment is what we call the Financial Navigators program. The Financial Navigators can help guide residents through financial issues and connect them to county and local resources. At this time, because we are in tax season, they can actually help connect you to free local tax preparation services and help you better understand the tax credits that are available. Next slide. Through our Office of Small Business, we work to provide wraparound services to the county's small business population. Now mainly impacted by COVID-19, so we've shifted a lot of our operations to focus on our response and recovery. Through our Small Business Concierge program, our procurement and technical assistance, we really offer and serve as a one-stop shop to a variety of free services to help the small businesses grow and at this time stabilize as well. We house the four programs that you see on the screen right now. So our concierge program has really focused on those that are seeking new opportunities in entrepreneurship navigating permitting, licensing, business planning. You would be surprised how many folks that have actually closed have now sought our services to reopen a different type of businesses and are looking to pivot. Our Procurement Technical Assistance Center provides free consultation on the steps that are required to do business with various government agencies at the state, local, and federal level. We also administer the county's various business certifications, including the local small business enterprise, the disabled veterans business enterprise, the social enterprises, as well as our minority, women, and disadvantaged owned business designations. So again, you can contact our offices to help to get support in navigating these services. And finally, because of COVID-19, we've also partnered with the local legal organization to offer support and workshops for small businesses specifically on topics related to COVID-19. Next slide. Last year, in partnership with the City of Los Angeles, we awarded nearly $100 million in grants to micro entrepreneurs, small businesses, and nonprofits. While $100 million sounds like a lot of money, I must tell you that we received over $1 billion in requests for funding. So we understand the need is very real. And the $1 billion request was just for this one specific fund, and the county managed multiple. We are proud to share that funding reached 80% of the entities that identified as minority led or owned. 43% were women or were women owned or led. And because the demand was so overwhelming, we've continued to advocate for additional grant funding. Next slide. Just this week, we reopened the fund to target personal care and retail businesses to issue $10,000 grants. The personal care and retail businesses include things like the dry cleaners, the donut shop, mechanic shop. Think of those small businesses that you see when you're walking down your main street corridors. Those are the folks that we're looking for and hoping will apply for this grant. The fund will target businesses with revenue under $1 million that are located in the County of Los Angeles, but outside of the City of LA. The City of LA has issued their own programming, and so we understand that they're managing their own grant programs at this time. For more information and to apply, you can visit lacovidfund.org. Next slide. Now, to reach our office, you can visit our website, or you can also call us at 833-238-4450. Next slide. Again, I encourage you, or finally, I should say, I encourage you to follow us on social media. It's probably the fastest way to get updates on programs that are available at this time. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Azucena and Rafael. That was very helpful. We do have a question in the chat. I did neglect to mention, if you do have questions, please put them in the chat. We'll answer them at the end of each segment. David Bowman would like to know what about direct payment financial assistance to businesses? I think you covered the grant programs that you're doing, and the only program you have right now is for the personal care. Anything that you wanted to elaborate on direct payment financial assistance to businesses?
So thank you, Carolyn. So yes, again, we continue to advocate for grant funding to help capitalize the recovery fund and other efforts. If you contact our Disaster Help Center, they have a better listing, not just of this fund, but any other funding sources that may be available and in alignment with your business. I do encourage you to sign up for a newsletter through the Disaster Help Center and or follow us on social media as new opportunities emerge. It's the best way to get connected to those resources.
Lene, can you go back one slide? Someone's asking for the social media, LA County DCBA. And again, I think the reason we're doing this engagement session is to get feedback from businesses about what they need. And so of course, that's a great point to bring up as well. I think Juliet's asking for the dates for the funds. We'll email all that out. Great points. We know that businesses still need assistance. So thank you, Azucena. And next we will have our Department of Workforce Development, Aging and Community Services, Isidro Villanueva, who's the Director of Economic and Business Development, and he is going to let us know about some of the tools for businesses.
Yeah, thank you, Carolyn. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Isidro Villanueva with the county's Workforce Development, Aging and Community Services Department, or as we call it within the county, WEDAX. Specifically, I work in the Economic and Business Development Division, and I'm here to talk about recovery tools for your business. But I want to thank Supervisor Mitchell for inviting us, and Carolyn and the rest of the team for putting this together. And then my director and assistant director, Oro Solorzano and Jose Perez, are sorry that they couldn't attend, but they're presenting in other meetings, so I'm here. So next slide. So this is just kind of a quick summary of what I'll be sharing with you today. I'll be sharing our services, some of our resources that we have available for you, and then of course how to contact us in case you have any questions or see how we can better serve your business. Next slide. So who are we? What are we about? So our mission is to deliver equitable workforce services that empower people, communities, and businesses to grow, succeed, and thrive in Los Angeles County. So all of our services are aimed at spurring your company to grow, economic growth, economic development, job growth, workforce development. So that's kind of what we're about. So I'll be sharing again, the services and see how we can assist you in your endeavor to grow. Next slide. So I know that obviously these past 12 months have been very long months. Fortunately, we've still been able to operate most of it virtually, but we still been able to kind of be out there and help our business communities. Like I mentioned, a lot of our services are aimed at kind of job growth and economic growth. And I know that's kind of been hard to do the last 12 months, but we were still able to kind of assist. So over the past 12 months during COVID, we were still able to assist over 2,500 local businesses, specifically here in Supervisor District 2. We were able to provide over 3,700 services to those businesses. And again, I'll go through the menu of services that we have available for you. Also, because of the COVID-19, we were also able to get CARES funding, and we did what we called an Employer Assistance Grant Fund. And we were able to award over almost $9 million worth of CARES grants to businesses, specifically in Supervisor District 2. And actually, that's much thanks to Carolyn Terroses, who was the former director over at Economic and Business Development up until very recently. So that's thank you to her, big kudos to her. Through some of our services that I can talk about layoffs, by our rapid response, we were able to avert 97 or save 97 jobs through the businesses that we work with. And I'll mention that and some of our partners there. We also were also able to get funding to do what we call PPE Unite. And so we were able to distribute over 94,000 kits of free PPE to over 7,000 businesses, again, specifically in District 2. So it's a 30-day supply of PPE that businesses were able to get for free. And then again, through the past 12 months, through our America's Job Centers of California, we were able to serve over 5,500 clients at our local job centers. Next slide. So again, I'll go into our services. Next slide. And again, like I said, these are services that are aimed at economic and job growth, but we definitely see them as very key, playing a key role in the efforts of economic recovery. So I'll be sharing what these are key recovery tools that we think would help each and every one of you. Next slide. So the first service is rapid response, and under rapid response, there's really kind of two different tiers, if you will, of rapid response. One is, hopefully nobody here finds themselves in that situation, is if you are a business and do need to either close your doors or do anticipate layoffs. Through rapid response, what we can do is kind of come in and mitigate the impact of that, for that closure or layoffs. And we would come in and do an assessment and see how we can kind of either connect your employees that are being laid off to other services within the county, or connect them to other potential job opportunities that might be available that meet their skill sets that they currently have. On the other side of the house of rapid response, we have what we call layoff aversion. And again, hopefully, again, nobody finds themselves in that situation. But if you do foresee where you're having some financial trouble or anticipate layoffs, through our layoff aversion and our partner, Los Angeles Economic Development Corporation, and I see Barbara Levine here in the virtual audience, what they'll do is they come in and kind of provide some counseling and see kind of what can be done to avoid, any potential layoffs, and see what other resources that they might bring to the table to kind of again avoid you having to close your doors or lay off individuals, and then connecting you to those right resources based on that assessment, and making sure that they put a game plan in place in order to save your business and save those jobs. Next slide. Now, we also have what we call on-the-job training. So as you are growing, as you are needed to bring on new individuals, and hopefully you find yourself in that situation or very soon in the near future, we know that it's going to be difficult maybe to find individuals that have the right skill set, and maybe you can't wait to have somebody go through formal training and graduate and be certified, or maybe the skill set is very particular to your operations. With on-the-job training, in order for it not to impact your bottom line as you're trying to bring somebody up to speed, what we do is we offer on-the-job training. And what that does is that it can reimburse wages for up to 50% of any new employee that you bring on for that period of time that you're training them and bringing them on board. Again, it's obviously when you're going through a new employee and training them, that might impact production and your bottom line. So we try to mitigate that through on-the-job training. So as you're bringing on this new person, we'll reimburse wages while they go through training, and hopefully by the time that they are fully trained, that then you can bring them on full time, and then like I said, hopefully with the on-the-job training funds, it helps kind of mitigate some of those training issues on bringing on a new person. Next slide. Incumbent worker training. So as maybe you've had to kind of pivot your business currently with the pandemic, or maybe in order to ensure safety of not only your employees but our customers now in this new reality, maybe there's some safety requirements that your staff might need. Maybe there's some new certifications, or maybe now that you find yourself growing or again having to shift your business model, maybe there's again new machinery, new certifications that your staff requires now. So we have what we call incumbent worker training. So we can come in and kind of pay for that training in order to upskill your current staff, your current workforce, so that you're able to now operate or stay competitive in this new reality. So with incumbent worker training, then we can come in and pay for that training, and again make sure that you're upskilling your workforce the right way. Next slide. Customized training. So again, maybe you have a particular need for a particular skill set, or maybe your operations or your line of work is very specific, and there isn't an ideal training out there that might prepare individuals for your company. Through customized training, what we'll do is come in, bring in a training provider that'll kind of sit down with you and customize a training program, a curriculum. We'll build a curriculum specifically for you to ensure that, again, that you have qualified individuals that you're hiring onto your company and to fill these jobs. So through customized training, again, we'll work with a local training provider, recruit individuals that again meet your company's culture. We'll train them so that all you have to do now is just kind of turn around and put them to work. So that's what customized training is. Next slide. And then we work with different populations that have different barriers, and we know that with the unemployment rate being so high, that these individuals might be passed on when you have so many people out there to choose from as far as a new workforce. So there's this work opportunity tax credit that allows you to kind of receive a tax credit ranging from $1,200 up to over $9,000 depending again on the type of individual that, or the type of barrier that the individual is experiencing. And then again, these are individuals that we work with, that we've kind of trained, we've got them job ready, but again, they just kind of need, you know, some additional assistance. And for you, the incentive is, you know, one of these many tax credits that are available to kind of give, you know, these people a second chance. Next slide. We have a youth at work program. It's really a, if you will, like a kind of, it started off as a summer internship program for our youth. This is for youth ages 14 to 24. We find that, you know, youth don't have that work experience once they graduate school, once they graduate college. So this is a way of giving them that experience. And what we'll do is we'll subsidize up to 100 hours of that work experience. So it's really kind of an internship, a paid internship that we'll pay for. And, you know, if you need extra hands at work to do some of that, you know, some of the stuff that you can't get to on a day-to-day basis, this is a good opportunity to kind of help you, you know, around your business and give, you know, work experience to some of our youth here in the county. Next slide. And our resources. So we have the employer services guide, which is essentially the slide deck that I went through, but it's an electronic version with some nice graphics and some more information on each of our particular services. And then our resiliency toolkit that again kind of gives an overall picture of all the services that are available throughout the county. Again, in order to ensure that your business is successful and that you succeed. Next slide. And the way to contact us is we have over 20 what we call America Job Centers of California throughout the county. If you go online to agcc.lacounty.gov, then you can look at all of our services, and then you can submit what we call an employer intake form with your information, and that will route you to the right office and the right business services representative. And then again, on social media, you can follow us at LEC Biz Dev on the different platforms there. Or again, like Rafael and Susanna mentioned from DCBA, you can call our Disaster Help Center to get more information. Next slide. And like I said, we have over 20 American Job Centers of California in the county. We have 3 specifically here in Supervisor District 2. We have one in what we call our South LA AJCC, and that's located within Southwest College. And the business services representative that you want to speak to there is Forrest Riley. We have one in Rancho Dominguez, when our business services representative there is Vicky Muniz. And then in Culver City, in our West LA ADCC, we have Yanju Desalu, and that's our business services representative there. And I also want to introduce, who's in the virtual audience, Tisha Boyd, who is our regional workforce development manager, and she kind of coordinates with all 3 of these centers and all of these business services representatives. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to any one of these individuals or to Tisha Boyd, again, who's here in the virtual audience. The next slide. So again, thank you all. I'll share my information in the chat. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. Obviously, you can reach out to Carolyn and she'll put us in contact. But thank you all for inviting us, and thank you all for being here.
Isidro, thank you so much. Can we go back to that last slide? We actually have quite a few questions coming in the chat for you. And I also was wondering if it would be possible, could we get Forrest, Vicky, and Yanju to enter their contact information in the chat, and then Tisha as well, just so, yes, oh, Tisha knows me. She already knows that I'm going to ask for that. We have a lot of questions about youth at work and whether youth at work is still happening, and also how many people we're looking for, and specific questions about youth training program for the healthcare industry and for the creative arts industry. Can you talk at all, Isidro, about how people would get involved with youth at work?
Yes, so there's 2 different forms. So one, as a youth, you can, again, if you go through our website at agcc.lacounty.gov, but if you look at our business services guide here, you see the link where it says rebrand youth at work. If you're interested in hosting a youth, you can submit your information. We would need your business information, location, again, so we can route you to the right business services representative. And then they'll get in contact with you and then kind of do an assessment as to kind of what are you looking for, what are you looking the youth to do. And then again, just to get the requirements and identify kind of, again, what kind of youth you're looking for, what duties they will be doing. And then they'll connect you and refer over some of the youth that they think would be a good match for you. So again, if I think the slides are being shared, and I can put a link to directly to our business services guide, which you'll see there on screen. But yeah, if you click on that link and submit your information, then one of our business services representatives will get in contact with you and kind of walk you through the process. And then again, we'll connect you with the right youth. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a limit, but obviously, again, we want to ensure that it's a beneficial experience to not only you but also to the youth.
Yeah, and I would just say on a personal note, this is a really important program to the county, to us, to our youth. If we're here talking about equity, and we're talking about investment in our communities, this is 120 hours of paid work experience for our youth, and it's also an opportunity for you to gain kind of a subsidized worker who's getting access and exposure to a career pathway that they might not have otherwise gotten. So we absolutely would love all of you. If anyone's interested, please, Jonathan Diaz from WeAx did put that contact information in there. All right. Don't see any other questions. Isidro, thank you so much. We are coming upon our small business development centers. And so when everyone's asking about funding, I'm just going to assume Pat has the answer. So I'm going to go ahead and let Pat and I take it away and tell us about some of these resources that we have from the Small Business Administration. Thanks, Pat.
Great. Thank you, Caroline. And thanks everybody for joining all of us today. I also really want to thank Supervisor Mitchell and her whole team at District 2 for the opportunity. I also want to thank all of our partners throughout LA County. We work hand in hand with your agencies, and it's been a great relationship and way for us to really leverage our SBDC services out there across our entire region. So we can go to the next slide, please. So for those who may not be familiar, the SBDC is the Small Business Development Center Network. We are a national program. We're a little bit over 40 years old at this point. We're funded by a federal appropriation each year, and our sole job is to go out and help small businesses. And so here in California, we have 5 SBDC networks that cover the state, and all the other states are covered as well. So my territory for LA includes LA County, Ventura, and Santa Barbara counties. And so within our region here, we have about 200 small business experts who are ready to meet one-on-one with you to talk about the challenges you may be having with your business. Or we also do trainings and workshops to help, sort of bigger groups of people tackle a specific topic. So within our region, we have 7 physical centers, and like I said, about 200 team members who are available, and currently it's all online, to meet with you one-on-one for your business. And really, as the mission there says, we are all about helping small businesses start, grow, and succeed. And if no matter what your challenge may be, I probably have an expert on my team who can help you navigate whatever those issues are. Next slide, please. So like I mentioned, one-on-one advising, that's really our core activity. I'll also say that, all of that is provided to you, the small business, at no cost. We don't charge for anything. As I mentioned, we are funded federally through a grant that we get through the Small Business Administration. Although we are not the SBA, we're a separate program. We're considered one of their resource partners, so we operate independently. We also get funding from the state of California, and then also through grants and other funds from private entities. And so we have sort of a lot of backing behind us to go out there and help small businesses really navigate the issues that you're facing. That listing you see there, that's just a quick highlight of the different areas. So we help people with everything from getting their business started and incorporation, business planning, all the way up to a business who's maybe been around for a dozen years, but they've maybe plateaued and are looking to figure out how to grow and get to the next level. We have specialty stuff in a whole wide variety of industries, as well as things like government contracting and international trade. We're often referred to as the best kept secret. We don't have a huge marketing budget or advertising, but we are there to help. And so when people take advantage of us, we do see some great results and they really thrive. Next slide, please. So again, sort of speaking to our expertise a little bit more, we offer, trainings and advising on e-commerce, social media. We help, especially throughout the pandemic, we've helped a ton of businesses basically shift their, brick and mortar operations to a more online environment. And so, as everybody's heard about pivoting, we've helped a lot of small businesses pivot. We've taken a very active role in helping small businesses be able to negotiate with their landlords. I know being able to pay your rent and your leases has been very challenging over the last 12 months. So we've had our advisors help coach people on the best way to navigate those discussions with landlords and hopefully get to an equitable result that works for both the landlord and you, the small business. We have experts in HR, marketing, importing, exporting, really anything you might imagine. We tend to do most of our services in English language or Spanish, but we do have capabilities in essentially a dozen languages just within my network. And then, with our counterparts across the state of California, collectively, we have about 20 different languages. So if there's somebody that needs services in a specific language, please reach out. We'll probably be able to accommodate that. Next slide, please. So, I wanted to show a little bit of the results here, and this isn't so much just a brag of what we do, but really to illustrate the impacts we've been able to make within District 2 and to show you that for those businesses who've taken advantage of us, we have been able to really meaningfully support them. And so, over the past couple of years, we've helped, over 3,000 clients just within District 2, 12,000 hours of one-on-one advising. I'll also mention that that advising is all confidential, so we don't share anything unless you're interested in being one of our success stories. We've held over 950 small business training events, and that's everything from how to navigate, the SBA loan products and the disaster products to how to, figure out the cost for food in your restaurant business and how to, deal with labor law and things like that. What I'm most proud of on this slide really is the funding we've been able to help people achieve. Just within District 2, we've been able to help small businesses get over 105 million in emergency funding resources. So we have a whole team within our network dedicated to just accessing capital. So we help small businesses get their financials together, pitch different lenders with loans, navigate grants, all of those things. So again, please take advantage of these resources. I also note that we really try hard to reflect our local communities, and so we do focus on underserved, underrepresented demographics, and we're really trying to move the needle on this. So I'm happy to say that just of the clients we've served in district over the past couple of years, 35% of those have been female entrepreneurs, and 40% has been identified as minority, and these are all self-identified, of course. Next slide, please. So here's really the meat of what I want to share. These are current resources for funding. I know that's the number one thing that most small businesses are really looking for right now. I just want to show that we are a hub for all of these things. So if there's a resource out there, we probably have the details on it and have some professionals who can help you figure out how to apply, how to follow up, all those things you might need for the grants and loans. And so just to let you know what's out there right now, obviously the PPP program has been extended through May 31st. And those who got first rounds may be eligible for second rounds. So those are available through lenders, but again, we can help you walk through the process of the application. Idle disaster loans, those have been extended through the end of this year. And again, they're allowing people to go back and even increase the amounts they got originally. So again, we can help you, navigate all of that. The statewide California COVID relief grant, they just completed round 5, and round 6 will open up here at the end of the month. And they're still funding all of the early applicants. If you have not applied, please take advantage of this on the 28th when it opens up again. And if you have applied but have not received a denial letter, just know that you're still in play. So this is still active, and they're just getting to everybody and reviewing everything. So you don't need to do anything if you have already applied. I think, it was mentioned earlier, the LA COVID Fund. So this is a county grant with their partner LISC. So that one's currently open through the 11th. And again, we can help people navigate that. It just opened yesterday, the SBA Shuttered Venues Operator Grant. And so this is specifically to arts and entertainment venues. It's a federal grant, and it's fairly complicated. And again, we have people who can help walk through that. Upcoming, there will be the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. This is another SBA program. They've just been starting to do some trainings on this to SBDCs and other resource partners. They will likely have information out on this in mid-April, and they're looking to open it up for the grants very quickly. This is pretty significant, and any type of restaurant type business would be eligible, including things like food trucks or food carts. And this will be a fair amount of funding. So I do urge you to take advantage of this if you're anything related to a restaurant business. And again, if you sign up with the SBDC or get our newsletter, we'll be putting out information as all that actually opens up for applications. The last one on the list there, this is just a local resource we have here in LA County. They encourage everybody to look into if these other resources aren't available. And this is just a private organization, the Jewish Free Loan Association. I'll note you do not have to be of Jewish heritage or faith. This is just a group that puts out no-cost loans. So these are loans, but they don't charge any interest for them. So if you've sort of exhausted every other opportunity, I do urge you to check out the JFLA. They're a great resource we have locally. And then one that's not on this list that I just learned about an hour ago is the California Restaurant Association now has a grant. It's $3,500, and LA County is one of the areas that they're focusing in. It has to be a business under 50 employees. You have to show a 20% revenue loss over the last year to be eligible. And this will open up on the 11th and run through April 18th. And the information for that is through the California Restaurant Association. The website is restaurantcare.org/resilience/. And again, if you sign up for SBDC, we'll make sure that we're putting that information out there over our social media. But I think that's a great one. And again, these things just keep popping up. So please do take advantage of these financial resources. Next slide, please. The other thing I mentioned is that we do workshops and trainings. And so this is just a really quick snapshot. We average somewhere between 5 to 10 trainings per day, and these are available to anybody, no cost.
They're having a webinar.
You just have to go and sign up. And these are just some of the different topic areas. It's a pretty wide spectrum. We can teach people how to do QuickBooks, deal with PPP forgiveness. You can join our retail academy or restaurant academy that gets into more detail and has experts specific to those types of industries. And again, we're putting out a ton of content each week, so lots of resources there to take advantage of. Next slide. So this is our website, smallbizla.org. We can also be found on all of the typical social medias at smallbizla. That's our handle. And those are the phone numbers to get a hold of us. And it's very painless process. You fill out a simple form, request our services, and then we schedule to have you meet with one of our one-on-one business advisors, one of our experts, and they can get you moving to wherever you need to go. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And obviously, before we go into the breakout sessions, we want to hear from Supervisor Mitchell on her vision, and I know she has joined us. But very quickly, you generate a lot of questions, Pat. And I just want to say that Pat and his team really are fantastic. So if you're confused about what all the resources you just heard about, they can walk you through, what you would qualify for. Some requests to share the information in the chat and about who qualifies and whether or not you serve undocumented residents, Pat, and then also what you might be able to do for the Chamber of Commerce. I know at least for the county, the Chambers of Commerce could actually apply for some of these grant funds. And then question about whether you can apply again for a grant in 2021 if you received one in 2020. I don't know, Pat, if you can quickly speak to any of these points or if you want.
So SBDCs, we're not interested in anybody's immigration status. We just work with all small business. The only caveat there is that we are federally funded. So unfortunately, cannabis and those related businesses do not qualify for our services because we are still subject to the federal rules, but really just about everybody else can take advantage of this. Let's see, the other questions I heard, if you received a grant in 2020, can you get one in 2021? That really depends on the grant. I'm not sure which one was being referred to. I do know that a lot of the federal resources are allowing you to go back for second draws, additional loans, things like that. So I think, as things are trending, we're realizing that this is much longer than anybody envisioned on the front end. And so it's very common to be able to get additional resources. I'll also mention, I think somebody mentioned the PPE Unite program. That's actually an SBDC program, and we were very thrilled to have the partnership with the county on that. You took, sort of our modest idea and leveraged it up to where we've served, I think it's over 30,000 businesses in LA County with no-cost PPE resources. So that's been a huge success.
Thank you, Pat, so much. Okay, so the rest of the questions, we'll go ahead and answer those in the chat. But without further ado, we really want you to hear from Supervisor Mitchell herself. She has a visionary goal for advancing equity in this county and specifically in this district. And so I would like to introduce Supervisor Holly Mitchell to share with us her thoughts around economic recovery for our business community. Thank you, Supervisor. You're on mute. You're on mute. The phrase of the year.
Right. I'm going to get one of those paddles and we can just hold up to let people know you're on mute. So good evening, everybody. First of all, I saw one of the comments in the chat that thanked Pat for being such an important resource to small and micro businesses. And I couldn't say a louder amen. I really want to thank all of the county partners who are participating in today's kickoff event, because we intend to do a series of discussions on equitable economic recovery in the 2nd Supervisorial District. But I want to thank again the County Department of Workforce Development, Aging and Community Services, the County Department of Consumer Business Affairs, and the Small Business Development Center Network, all critical programs within the county government that are here to provide support to you. So thank you. And let me also say that by virtue of this event, you met Carolyn, you met Frederica, my new chief of staff. We want you to know that our office is here to serve as a resource to you. And we look forward to continuing to do so and to continuing to expand our network of small and micro businesses, nonprofits, faith-based organizations, employers that play such a critical role in the 2nd District and will play a critical role in our economic recovery. So I hope that you will spread the good news that you heard about today. I was driving into the Holiday Administration last week for our board meeting, and I took a different route that I normally do. I typically just use Olympic as my personal freeway to get from my home in Midtown to downtown. And I think I went down 6th Street. And that's not a street I typically travel from Midtown all the way to downtown. And I was just struck by the entire route on both sides of the street that it was filled with small businesses. We spent a lot of time talking about box stores. There was not a single box store on my entire route. And I was reminded that 93% of the businesses in LA County have 20 employees or fewer. And I am clear about the challenge of this dual pandemic on you as business owners, this public health and economic pandemic. And again, we are committed to do all that we can to bring county resources to the table for a more equitable recovery. And you will hear me emphasize that, as well as my team, consistently. You know, it's not our shared mission to return to business as usual, because for too many of the residents in my district and the businesses in my district, the status quo wasn't serving your needs pre-COVID. And so we're going to take advantage of this unique moment in time and history, this unique opportunity we have for significant investment of public dollars to build better, to build broader, to build a more inclusive economy that will help our residents. I'm assuming you may have heard before I was able to join from a variety of the county members who presented the kinds of economic, the dollars the county has put into services for you. But I want to talk to you a little bit about what our second district shared vision is building out to become. We want to create an intentional pathway for recovery by expanding small business grants and loan programs, creating pathways for high road jobs with a family sustaining wage and benefits, and supporting working families with childcare assistance and financial relief. And if you know anything about my background, you know that I am clear about the importance of supporting our young people, particularly childcare for working families and women. We're proposing to invest in an empowering our community's entrepreneurship academy to mentor and support the next generation of thriving second district businesses. We want to continue the county's unprecedented $200 million investment in small businesses to make more grants available to small businesses, nonprofit organizations, micro businesses, and community-based organizations. We're proposing to pair this effort with a micro loan fund to provide low-cost loans to small businesses as they build their credit for traditional lenders. We know that businesses owned by people of color and women-owned businesses have been most severely impacted by the pandemic, and that 15,000 businesses have closed in LA County alone since March of 2020. 15,000, you multiply that by the number of employees and the number of times their investment dollars bounced on our community, and that's really significant. That's why we're proposing to target loan and grant funding to our hardest hit organizations and entrepreneurs. And we know that we've got to bridge the digital divide if we have any hope of closing the achievement gap and leveling the playing field for businesses to conduct and to connect with top talent in our district. These are only some of the ways that we're proposing to create a thriving second district. However, you are the experts in the small enterprises who've been weathering the storm during this pandemic. So we want to hear directly from you on what the county is doing well and what can be improved, and how we can best help and facilitate service to you. Our staff are here tonight to listen to your proposals on the best strategies to keep your doors open and our LA economy thriving. As the former CEO of Crystal Stairs, the largest child development agency in the nation, I understand the challenges that you face. I had to make payroll during equally as challenging times. Many of you are working with a stretched budget and trying to balance paying employees and sustaining your business. So I want you to know that we see you, that your businesses and organizations are vital to our communities, and that our team is ready to support you in every way we can. It's not enough to talk about economic recovery. We have to have a plan of action for getting the dollars out to you effectively and efficiently. So please be honest and let us know what you need and how best to serve you. Let us know if what you heard from the county is the kind of information that you find valuable, and what role you can play in helping us spread the good news even further. So thanks everyone for spending your evening with us tonight. I strongly value your feedback, and I look forward to working with all of you. Thanks again for being here. Carolyn?
Thank you, Supervisor Mitchell. That was truly inspiring. It's always great to hear you speak, and I'm sure our businesses are feeling enthused about giving feedback to us. So thank you, Supervisor. Now what's going to happen, if we could just go back to the slide, We are actually going to break out in breakout rooms, and there will be a facilitator in each breakout room who's going to ask a series of questions. And Carmen, perhaps you could put the link to our question Google Doc in the chat. I'm going to send you to the breakout rooms. You're going to have approximately 20-25 minutes there with your facilitator to really give us your feedback. That's what we're looking for, like Supervisor said. And then we'll close it out. So thank you again for spending your evening with us, and to the breakout rooms we go. Okay, so I think everyone should be back from our breakout rooms. I'm seeing people slowly start to trickle back in. I hope that that was a productive conversation. I was loving seeing all the comments coming in our Google Docs. Does anyone from one of the breakout sessions want to share or lift up any main points for us to know as we're crafting our investments around economic recovery? Anyone want to uplift anything? Feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself.
Carolyn, I'll uplift for my group because it was emphasized and shared across the board on support grants versus loans. So folks shared a bit, so you'll see in the notes from our group that piece. So we can't underscore enough that, especially right now, grants.
Absolutely. And Joy says reducing barriers to entry. Oscar, you raised your hand. Did you want to say something, Oscar?
I'm not sure why it says Oscar, but I'm Matthew Crawford, the COO of Toss It Up Salad. We basically went over a lot about accessing like access to capital and access to like county resources. I think the feeling, and I think if anyone thought hard about it, it's probably, would be true for them. The feeling would be that these resources are not disseminated or shared with disproportionately impacted areas such as South Los Angeles and Compton, for examples. So the county, I would feel, should focus more on getting this information to businesses in those locations, as well as access to capital and whatnot, to give those businesses who have a greater chance and greater propensity of failure, greater chances of success. Because if the goal is uplifting the entire county or this district, we'll say, just at a micro, then it should go to the areas most needed, not just kind of trickling down, which is kind of unfortunately the approach that things kind of work out to being. So focusing on getting information to community-based organizations that will disseminate that information to the business in their areas, as well as, looking at, getting access to these resources and breaking down barriers to city contracts, for an example, would be great tools and great things to start with.
Great. And I hope that you heard the supervisor underscore that is not, she does not want the trickle down approach. It's not business as usual. It's really about going into these communities. So thank you for highlighting that, and we have to do better. Any other, we have two participants raising their hand. Sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, Theon?
Theon, yes.
Theon, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Close. Thank you for that.
Go ahead, Theon.
I just wanted to say, not only in terms of getting it to the people that need it the most, but getting them the support to actually complete the information. So even when people learn about the opportunities and the grants, they don't always know how to complete them. If there was some place where they can go, I think SBDC does some of that, but really making them aware that this is where you can go to get the type of support you need for your business. Most of these businesses are solopreneur, entrepreneur businesses that really, I've worked with businesses where I've said, why are you an S Corp? And they're like, because my name began with the letter S. They don't really understand how they've even set up their business. So really getting support for the business owners to get them to understand what they have and that what they're doing really is a business and how to navigate that system.
Absolutely. And I think, making sure that we have robust technical assistance is something that internally with the supervisor, we've definitely discussed. So I think, absolutely, we're all in agreement on that. I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. It is 5:30. I know there are other individuals with their hand raised, but I just wanted to say we're at time. I did put my email address in the chat. Again, I put it in a few times, but I'm serious. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to chat through any of your ideas with you on a one-on-one basis, and we're here to listen to you. I mean, like Frederica and the supervisor said, you know, we are a community-centered group here at Team Mitchell. And so we want to engage with all of you and want you to feel heard. We're not here at the county making decisions in a vacuum. Cynthia, again, it is ctrosis@bos.lacounty.gov. And so with that being said, on behalf of Supervisor Mitchell, I'm going to go ahead and close us out here. But I do just want to say we very, very much value all of your feedback. We are taking all of the Google Sheets and all of our facilitators are going to report back comments into account. And I hope that this is the first in an ongoing dialogue. We want to be open to you and continue to talk with our community about what's working, what's not working. Carmen Gosay, also on our team, who did a lot of work in putting this together, has a survey. We are going to send a survey out to you for further feedback. If there's things you didn't feel comfortable bringing up today, feel free to post that in the survey. We will look at all of that. And so please fill that out and return it to us by the end of next week.